And welcome on in to the American Muscle Car Series presented by Ricmotech and Finney McFinger. So we've just transitioned over to qualifying here. We've got Matt Malone out on the track right now, about to do his first flying qualifying lap. So we got a pretty healthy field. It's over almost 40 Mustangs race. We're starting to see our first lap times come in, so we'll go ahead and get those qualifying times up on the screen for you. Anything in the 15s, pretty low 15s, seem to be a good time for practice, other than some people who cheated, which we won't go into. So we got Matt Malone up there putting up a pole of 15.9 seconds for the shorter layout here at Donnington, not including the massive hairpin that no one would like in a Mustang. It is a Mustang. It doesn't turn. So now we're still watching Matt try to get his second flying time in here, as Ian Lane actually takes over the top, known as Checkers of Records in the community, running around in a beautiful paint. That is actually a Mazda paint. Somebody explain that one to me. I don't know. But at least it's beautiful to look at, right? So now we'll actually hop on board real quick with Checkers of Records here. And I'll hit that roll bar. I'll listen to that V8 sing around Donnington here as we go up the hill for the kind of fast left-hander into a slower right-hander. Listen to Adam carrying 75 miles per hour around that corner in this big American V8. And we're going to go over the hill here for the right-hander into a big, long, sweeping right-hander down to the very tight chicane for these cars. If you watch them closely, they almost jump every time they go over it, which is interesting. So Ian here sounds like he's actually backed out of it. Don't actually know how many laps they're going to get, but I'm assuming it's more than 2 if he's taking that slow down. So he hops the curbs over, and he gets back on it. Almost slides the rear end around, trying to get on the power that hard. So it looks like everybody's fast laps for lap 1, and it looks like they're all going to try for, it looks like, a lap 3. So got people backing way off, and Colin Campbell actually aborted his lap 2 and is going to pull in the pits. So I'll hop back with Matt Malone, see if he's going to do anything here with this fast lap number 3. And it looks like we got people all over the board jumping around here. So actually, Finney McFinger was talking about running this race, but he's actually live stewarding for us. This is his league with all of these beautiful Mustangs running around. And, I mean, he's got some big names in here. He's got some sim pit drivers. He's got, Matt freaking Malone got to put it in a fast lap here. Got 2/10 up on his current pace. It looks like he lost out a little bit in the end, but he did end up with pole off of that. And it looks like Ian Lane aborted his 3rd lap, so Ian's not going to improve. Got some more challenging coming from it. Looks like Lyndall McMurphy. Ooh, big sideways coming through there. Didn't get on the curb, which is great. Mustangs, you get on that dirty curb and you're already sideways, it can be a bad, bad time. So it looks like he's about 3/10 up on his PB right now. Oh, 4/10 up. Could be fighting for pole on this lap. Depends on if he nails the last chicane in these last few corners. Coming over next to the DRS signs. If only these Mustangs had DRS. They don't. That would be wild. And he's going to come into the hard braking zone here. Hop over some curbs, and then we'll see what he does. It says he's 1.1 seconds up on pole right now. If that holds out to be true, that'll be a wild lap from him. So, let's see what we got. No, not enough for pole. Apparently the overlay is lying to me. But did significantly improve his pace up to P6. It looks like our next contestant for the flying laps probably looks like Matthew Thomas is going to be starting one. Still got some people further back in the field that are about to run some laps. It looks like Peter Stewart's getting set up for his laps. Not pushing too hard, doesn't want to get everything too hot yet. Also got Brian Howard. It looks like he just finished a lap, back up to P5. It looks like Matt Malone, after setting the cheater speed practice lap, is actually going to do pretty good here in qualifying. So good to see out of Matt. He used to be a big fan of these cars back in the day on iRacing. And if he runs Production Car Challenge and he's not in the Mustang, something is wrong with him. Take him to a doctor. We're going to see a lot of what just happened there coming out of that chicane. They land, come off that curb, get on the power, and these rear tires just say, no, thank you. All right, so it looks like pretty much everybody's put in all the times we're going to have today. So let's go through our quick qualifying ticker here. So we got Matt Malone. Looks like he's going to get pole with Luis Henriquez, I believe Black Dog on second. Ian Lane, Checkers or Wreckers, running up that third place. Got Brandon Sheelan in fourth in that 33 car. Brian D. Howard in fifth. Lyndall McMurphy, not far off, about half a second off pole in sixth. Followed super closely by Scott Banks. We also have Alexandros back in eighth in that 077. And Seth Rawls ninth. And Devin Booth actually rounding out your top 10. It looks like we got a pretty competitive field. I mean, everybody on that qualifying ticker is 1 second or less away from Matt. And I mean, the whole field, pretty darn close. You got to admit, for having, 37 Mustangs qualified. The worst one was 4 seconds off, but I'm sure that was because of an issue. These things are not easy around these technical circuits with big sweeping corners. They don't have downforce to really help them. They weigh a lot compared to some race cars. And I mean, this should be an interesting race once we get it going here. So we will be right back with the start of the race. All right, and welcome back on into the American Muscle Car Series here, presented by Ricmotech and Finney McFinger. So here's a little track map for our track circuit today. We're using the national layout here at Donnington. So about a 2-mile circuit. We get the shortcut right at the chicane. Instead of going left, we're going to take the right, get onto the front straight, and avoid that nasty hairpin, which is probably going to be critical with these 30-plus American V8. I mean, look at them. Beautiful Mustangs. So, now we get that out of the way. We'll get this race underway with Matt Malone on pole. And Checkers or Wreckers right there pushing him. So, this could be a very wild start here. I mean, this many American muscle cars in one place. Who could have ever predicted this? It looks like downtown on a Saturday evening, except they're all Mustangs. We got the green flag underway here. Matt Malone pulling out the field. And listen to all those V8s thunder into life as we get down to turn 1. We're going to see the field try to get through here cleanly. And look at them all. Taking nice and careful. Got a few moves here in the back trying to close up the gaps. Kind of a big traffic jam going on back here. But still, Matt Malone pulled away the lead. Just in front of Black Dog with Checkers or Wreckers. Ian Lane tucked in right behind him. Now they're all going to be coming through here. We'll see if we can find anybody making moves. 42 car getting way sideways through there. Lord. Okay, you hang on to it. We're going to keep going around. We're going to go ahead and hop back up in the blimp just for a second to watch these guys all go through the chicane. As they come around the top of the hill, back down towards the chicane, actually. Here's some contact further back in the background. Looks like everybody got it back together. Just a little touch. Oh, we got a spinner off the track there. Eric on a bird. And Peter D. Stewart ended up having to tow. Eric got it spun back around here. It looks like he's going to be good to go back on track. And most of the cars, looks like we got through the chicane pretty well. Got some side-by-side here going into turn 1. And they actually sorted out. I'm trying to be nice and careful here. It is a 40-minute race. Lots of laps to survive. No reason to get a little too wild this early on. It does look pretty unfortunate for Peter, though. Can't pull up his incident, unfortunately, but he did end up towing and put himself right to the back on lap 1. It's never what you want to do. Matt Malone taking it wide on the grass this time around. Gonna lose quite a bit of time, actually. Black Dog is gonna slide up the inside, but Matt's gonna try to carry the momentum. That's really what this Mustang's about. You've got power, but you don't have the grip to use it. So if you can roll around the corner, kind of like NASCAR, you're gonna get a big run on people. And Ian's actually gonna throw it up the inside up there and take the spot away for second. That's a great move by Ian to get there. You know, it's pretty single file through the field. We're going to hop over this chicane. Hope we have no more casualties to it, but you never know. Oh, we got a big incident here. See what happened to these guys real quick. So they're coming up the hill. Oh, just spins out in front of them, tries to collect it, the 003. Absolutely showing the 323. That was Andrew and Morano Jr. That's real unfortunate. He's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not much you can do there. I mean, other than hope you can get by him before they spin back across the track, but it's real unfortunate. We have the 311 of Nicholas coming in the pits. Not stopped for service yet, but he's getting to his stall. Well, let's get back up to the front here. Here's your 3 leaders. You got Matt Malone, Ian Lane, and Luis Henriquez. We got another car in the pits, a 677 now. Maybe some drive-throughs being handed out here for, you know, unsafe driving, contact, a few different things that the live stewards are actually doing for this league. So we will see if we get any results from those, anything comes up for us. Still got a pretty close battle here all the way down to 16th. I mean, pretty much in a row. There's a few little gaps in between. Matt Malone actually having to give up top 2, top 3 positions. May have got a slowdown from that last chicane, which is a danger if you cut it too much in these cars to go fast. You can pay for it, and I mean, he just did with 5 positions. It's super unfortunate for him, but that's the price you got to pay if you want to go fast around here. And now he's going to have to sit here behind this battle for 3rd and just keep losing time to those 2 out in front. Got Brandon here looking to make a move up the inside. Brian kind of just holding place here. He's going for it, but thinks better of it. You know, as a interesting dive, I don't think I would have even shown my nose there, because if you make a move up the inside there, it tends to not end well, especially for me. Still got pretty close battle for 1st and 2nd, but they're really pulling away from 3rd after Matt's penalty. Matt being super conservative on the chicane this time. Trying not to lose any more time than he has to. Yeah, one mistake leads to another, and you're going to have a real bad day in a real hurry. So here comes Matt around the outside. Brandon looking to make it stick. Kind of pinch him onto that curb. Try to get the better drive around the outside, but Brandon actually closes the door perfectly on Matt. What a move on that one. And we got a big gaggle of cars back here in about 23rd, 22nd place. All trying to fight and get their way back through the field after some early incidents. So yeah, I did get confirmation. Matt's last lap was invalidated, which means they definitely gave him some sort of slowdown to make him pay for the excessive cutting of the last chicane, we'll say. Looks like we might have had another one of those for 25 car. He lost about a 2nd this lap, so probably gave up a few positions. All through the field, I mean, there's no real big gaps all the way back to people that were involved in incidents. Fortunately, it looks like Sean Cole has had a pretty good smack on his nose. I didn't catch that one, but he's got relegated all the way back down to 29th. But not the race he would want to have here. Still got, I mean, a huge train back here for about 4th place. Matt Malone's still trying to go around the outside of Brandon. I mean, look at those rotors glow trying to get this baby stopped into turn 1 every lap, coming off that straightaway into the chicane, heating up the tires. Every lap it's going to get a little bit more treacherous through there. But I believe these drivers, if you can do that chicane once in these big Mustangs, all you got to do is conserve, keep it smooth, and not jump the curbs. As soon as you start jumping curbs, you're using up your equipment more than you should. We got some people kicking up some dust now, you know, trying to use every inch of those track limits to keep the momentum up. Try to save your rear tires from spinning and, you know, getting that rear end very loose. We got Devin Booth actually going around Matt Thomas, who looks to be pretty slow. May have got a slowdown. Lost over 4 seconds this lap to his personal best. Something big must have happened. Oh yeah, look at that. We're on a little replay here. You're gonna get a little bit loose, get on that power, and then once the rear end goes, it's gone. He did a really good job to save it on this iRacing grass model. But gotta use a little bit more. We got a fastest lap from your 9th place, Jason Gata, back here in this big Mustang train. Tons of horsepower coming through. It looks like your 1st and 2nd have actually managed to pull about a 3-second gap. 2.5-second gap. Back to your 3rd place of Brian Howard. That penalty cost Matt big, going from the lead to 5th, and he's getting, you know, kind of trapped in this little bubble of speed. He's slightly faster in the cars in front of him, but slightly faster doesn't do it on the road. So he's really going to have to try to set up a move here, you know, get his way back to the lead. It looks like we had another incident back here in the pack. It looks like we might have a full course yellow. I have to see as the leaders come around here if we do indeed have a full course, but what the system is informing me, yeah, we got a full course yellow out on track. Now Matt Malone Probably should be thinking that one. See if we can find out the cause for that one. It looks like Robert Jackman might have had a pretty big hit. See if we can see it. Oh, it's pulling over. Let's see what happens here. He's going pretty slowly, destroyed car. And it just gives up. He pulls over and says, I've had enough. I'm getting out of this thing before it blows up. So that's pretty interesting. So we do have our Mustang out leading the Mustangs. The nice iRacing pace car. Some people have said it needed to be replaced, but I much prefer, the classic iRacing Mustang. It works on road, it works on oval. I mean, look at it. It's just a pristine American horsepower machine. So, looks like we've got Ian Lane kind of just trying to keep everything warmed up here. Matt Malone should be thankful of this one because he's got closed back up to the field now. So that's really good for him. And, let's just kind of see if what the field does here. I wouldn't imagine that they're going to probably do anything wild pit strategy wise unless you're at the back and just want to do something different. All these guys are going to be pushing hard, try to keep together. And I mean, there's still 32 Mustangs out here running around, 33 on the lead lap actually, catching up now with the safety car. It's going to be nearly impossible to work your way through that many Mustangs. I mean, Matt Malone lost, 4 spots and is still stuck where he landed. So we'll just see what they can do here. Keep an eye on your leaders. And as of right now, your current retirements look like it's going to be Robert Jackman, Brandon Carl, Stephen McCaffrey, and Peter D. Stewart back in 38th. So looks like the 311 car had a pretty big shunt, set in the pits for over a minute trying to get some damage fixed. And actually back on track, just 1 lap down right now. And we still have our pace car out on track. Typical iRacing full course yellows do take a little while. But it looks like we do have some takers back in about 20th place. We got Jack Britt. Looks like the only one that decided to come down pit lane, maybe get some damage fixed. We got 29th Morano Jr. coming in and Andrew Houston right behind him. It's probably not a bad time, You got some, aero damage, come in, get it fixed. It's going to slow you down. It just looks like Jack just took tires. Car looks pretty clean for me. So, I mean, it's something different to do. You're going to give up spots for it. It's going to be a hard ask to make those up, but at 30 minutes left in this race, anything's possible once this pace car comes in. And it does look like the pace car lights are already out. So, if that is true, we will be back here very quickly to racing. And a 2-mile lap doesn't seem that long, but the pace car speeds around here, not super fast. So, track crew is able to get a lot done in those couple of laps. So my big thoughts here is like these people that have been running, these great fast laps that are kind of trapped. You got the 69 car run a 15.97. I mean, that's not quite up with the first 5 cars, but he's definitely faster than the cars in front of him if that's his true pace. So it makes you wonder if he thinks he can take advantage of this restart and make some great speed. And look at that beautiful Cobra Jet livery on that 69 car. Nice. You gotta have the 69 car. There's one in every league. In this league, no exception to that rule. So we got our pace car coming down the straightaway just before the chicane. Once he gets in the pit lane, checkers or wreckers will lead us back to green. So on terms of pit stops, your first one to do any pit stop today is 31st Jack Britt, number 8 car. It was about a 13-second stop, so I can't imagine they did much more than maybe tires and some fuel. Might have got, a little part replaced, but here we go. Green flag. Look at how long that single file line of Mustangs goes on for. got Matt Malone with a big run. Going to send it down the inside. Got brake checked even just a little bit. Still up the inside, but elects to give it up. And, ooh, going to almost lose 6th place here back to Scott Banks. Going to have to go side by side down the hill. This is sketchy enough by yourself in most cars, but Scott Banks, didn't have quite a run on him. Matt Malone kept his foot in it and got back up to his 5th place. Matt Malone definitely looked antsy there on that start. He wanted to get gone. Got a little battle back here. Jay Little coming through with that Phil Scruton's very messed up nose. That's not what you want your Mustang to look like at your dealership, folks. But, takes a big hit, keeps on ticking. Got Devin Booth back here racing for 19th and 18th. Fighting that Greg in that number 3 car. Super close to him. And once again, up here with your leaders, we have the top 2 have pulled a 2nd gap. Matt Malone is trying everything he can to get out of this pack, and it's just not working for him. Really paid big for that penalty. We got a little bit of maybe fight for first. No, they think better of it. They see the gap they're pulling. Why jeopardize it? Matt Malone going almost all the way out to the grass near a pit exit. Just trying to get anything he can on Brandon, but Brandon just perfectly keeps closing that door right out of turn 1. And if you aren't alongside at least a little bit coming before the hill, I wouldn't make a move through the hill. But that's me. Matt Malone, he's a professional, folks. He gets paid to do this, basically. We got Jay Little back in the pits. If we can... Doubt it was a planned stop, but looks like he just got a little bit of damage fixed. And told Devin Booth's last lap was invalidated, possibly for a corner cut, so he's still back in 19th. Must have not been a big one. And Matt Malone going back to 7th. And lost 2 spots there. Another slowdown or potentially penalty from the stewards. Yeah, it looks like he might have just cut that grass just enough that the stewards told him he had to give up a couple spots. He's pushing so hard trying to get back up, and he's just costing himself more and more every lap. Got Sean Cole coming up from 22nd place back here, racing with the unfortunately damaged crew. Let's see if the Sim Pit cars can get back through the field a little bit more. Just sends it through turn 1 a little bit too wide and actually falls back to 23rd. Man. Gonna be lots of repair bills for headlights on this poor Mustang field. You got your leaders up here all intact, and then every now and then you'll see one that's had a little bit of a collision that's disabled those front lights. Order still showing Ian Lane checkers of records up here in first. I wouldn't say a comfortable lead over Black Dog, but definitely pulling out a little bit of a gap now. Definitely intentionally trying to break the toe down the straightaways. Just trying to do anything you can to grab that little advantage every lap. Humping the curbs. Now everybody you can see is getting serious. We're halfway through the race. You might as well push. Give it everything you can over those curbs. Just try not to get a penalty, or otherwise you're going to drop at least 2 or 3 spots. A little bit of side-by-side here for 8th. Got your 110 of Jason Grata going around the outside. It actually looks like he might give up the inside here for the downhill. And he manages to keep the throttle held down around the outside. Nothing too drastically happens. So we got a spin coming out of the chicane for the 27 car, Roger Clark. He lost quite a bit of time there. All the people that pitted ended up actually passing him. Oh, we've had a big collision here. Phil Scruton's engine has left the building. He's running that 4-cylinder Mustang now. And he's just going to pull over and call it a day, which is probably wise. Let's see what happens here. Coming into turn 1. Gets a little bit wide. Gets on that grass and keeps the throttle held in. And unfortunately, once you're out there and you start spinning that badly, there's not much you can do. Got a feel for the cars that got involved there. Coming through turn one is hard to slow down. You're already on the edge of grip. And, I mean, they just absolutely plowed through him. And he's now hosting the Every Race Barbecue on pit lane. So he's in charge of the burgers today. We got Matt Malone going around the outside of the 64 car here at Lyndall McMurphy. Fastest lap for their 69 car that I pointed out earlier. Did a 15.120 that lap. So he's definitely going to be looking to make moves to get up out of 10th place, get up here, get towards the front, make some more points out of this race. He's had the pace. Now let's see if he can make some passes. Matt Malone gets back up to 6th from 5th or 7th. You got to remember, Matt got stuck in 4th out of the lead from a cut track. So we'll see if Matt can make some more points here. Still half a race to go. 20 minutes almost exactly right now. Go further back to the field, see if we can find anything. You got the 15 car practically pushing this double, or the 7-0-7-7 up the hill. Other than that, they got the 420 in the pit still. I mean, his day's done. That one looked pretty terminal. I doubt you're going to get an engine put back together in 20 minutes, but 3 car here is having to go pretty slow over the chicane, give up some spots. Helps out Devin Muth moving back up to 17th now. Got a race for 9th into turn 1, and we got somebody big off there. Scott Banks was racing near Matt Malone there. Let's see what happened to him through turn 1. Comes into turn 1. Goes a little bit late apex. Gets that rear end loose with that broken wing, and a little touch from Matt as he was already out of the way and spun him right off the track. Gathers it up and keeps going though, but that drops him all the way from 5th back to 20th right now. So, and he's got some pretty good rear end damage now from something that happened earlier, plus that little tap from Malone. That Mustang definitely has a little bit less cargo space than it started this race with. So Matt Malone, you know, a good beneficiary from that one. Got the 71 here going wide. Oh, just got in the corner too hot. Top of the hill, trying to get too much. Braking on the curb, and then car says, no, we're not doing that. There's a good, almost a perfect save to keep it going there. Would have lost a couple spots, but car snapped back too much, and he took the little scenic detour. Mustang's not necessarily known for their off-roading skills around Donnington. Let's hop back up here, check on your leaders. You got Checkers of Records, Ian Lane, still kind of pushing the boundaries of the track every lap, but he's making lap time. That's all you got to do as the leader. Black Dog holding about 3/10 behind him, you know, kind of closing up every pit or every braking zone, but you know, oh, Matt Malone, big off there. Got 3 wide with one of them in the grass. This is only going to end poorly. 33 cuts the corner to get away from the whole ordeal, and then 64 overshoots it to get away from the whole ordeal. Let's hop back and see how that started. Just missed it on the replay. Okay, we'll try that again. So I got Matt Malone going for a pretty big move around the outside. 33 shoves him out of the way of the track and gets pinned to him. The 64 says, no, I'm going up the inside, then misses his braking zone. Then goes on that same scenic detour we saw just a few laps ago. So Matt Malone, once again, beneficiary from little incidents, back up to 4th. You know, he's not really causing them, but he's always near them or in them to the point that it kind of almost causes them problems. Oh, Matt Malone going from 7th to 4th through a little bit of fault of his own. Let's see if Brandon can kind of calm down and recover himself from that. Not lose another spot back to Jason Gata in that 110 Mustang. Still has his headlights going, so that's good. Throughout your field, looks like kind of getting spread out again. Nothing too drastic. Everybody's still within touching distance of one another, but they're, oh, I was going to say keeping a respectful distance, but the 110 said, forget that. 33, you're in my way. 33 is going to swing it back around and get hit again and again. Oh, 33. That was, yeah, not the smartest rejoin. Probably should have taken a little bit of grass. And I can't tell the number of that car, but whoever hit him spinning around there has no front end left. Looks like that's the 64 of Lyndall McMurphy. That's, you know, a bunch of incidents in a row for McMurphy. That's super unfortunate. Yeah, Jack Britt probably, don't know what happened to him. He's just pretty slow down that front straight. But that was one heck of a rejoin, and I mean, nothing they could do to avoid that one. I mean, that poor 64 car was running pretty well, and now not going to be a great day for the books. We got Matt Malone making a move up the inside, going over the top of the hill to the right. That car definitely showing some wear and tear on that front end now, but that pass, he is released into the cleanest air on the track, just about. And now his goal is going to be hold that throttle down for 15 more minutes, see if he can't get up there and try to pressure the leaders into making a mistake or two. The 64 car is just super down on power, getting passed left and right, it looks like. Makes you wonder if he might think about coming into the pits and seeing if they can help him at all, but I mean, 15 minutes left of this 40-minute race is probably not going to be worth it. Got the 33 car after his interesting rejoin on the track coming in the pits. Maybe a penalty from the stewards here. We got a live steward, of course, in this league. But his day was probably pretty hurt anyway. He got, you know, 2 big hits from people coming through that chicane. And while that chicane is not the tightest in the world, these Mustangs are heavy and they carry lots of hitting power when they do have an issue. Let's check in on our distance between Matt and the field. You know, catching up slowly, not making a huge inroad on the leaders. Battle wounds definitely showing, and the top 2 have kind of been smart, kept it clean, ran away with the race. And can you blame them? Matt Malone was up here in first. Probably be a different story for the leaders. They'd probably be scrapping, but we got the 110 car. Jason coming in the pits. See how he does. Just a little drive-through for him. Have to go back and see why he was probably issued that penalty. Might be too many off tracks. There's a few different reasons that the stewards can give those drive-through penalties now. We got Ian and the Black Dog here, just kind of keeping within touching distance. They're both fast, but hard to pull away if you're just, you know, so close on pace. Big battle here for 4th and 5th. You got to give a shout out to our unofficial fake pace car here, J.W. Miller back there. Such a timeless livery. I don't see why everybody doesn't run that beautiful Mustang pace car. Looking back through the field here, we got little battles going on, about like 20 seconds. Little scrap for 17th right here. That's going to just, unfortunately, Lyndall McMurphy with that damage. No chance down the straightaway. Got the 6-cylinder installed on that one. He's not quite smoking, but you got to imagine with that much damage on the front end, something's probably broke. Excuse me. Yeah, 33 coming down pit lane again. This one might be the I'm done with this, let me get out of this car and not come back. Or might just be retiring. Or, yeah, he's definitely taking... He's in his pit stall, so something's getting fixed or he's done. One of those two. We'll see. Oh. He's back on it. He's moving, so... Might have a little battle brewing here for fourth. We got Brian and Zoran. 69 car still out here doing his best back in fifth. And we got a big train forming here behind the 403 of Devin Booth. 3 car. Don't know if he's getting loose or if he's looking up the inside or what, but see if he can make any runs here. Kind of squabbling for position. There's somebody getting hit back here. We got the 77 hopped in pit lane again, and then the 33, I guess, called it a day finally. Just checking in on your people that have made a pit stop. Zach Britt was back down in, I believe, 30th after that caution. He's snuck his way back up to 19th. So, that's a good performance. Looks like he's got Lyndon McMurphy up in his sights and making really good inroads. Lyndon, unfortunately, dropping from a really good position in this race. Just had some horrible luck through that turn one, or chicane incident, rather. Not much he can do there. Matt Malone actually is closing down this gap to the leaders. He was about 5 seconds off of Checkers, Ian Lane, at the 15-minute mark, and back down to 2.8 off of Black Dog, about 3.5 off of Checkers. So we'll see if that progresses and Matt can actually get up there and show them why this is his car. Got a little racing here between Scott Banks and David Blair for 16th. Scott Banks still doing pretty good despite the bumper damage that the rear end of his car has had. But to be fair, David does have quite a bit of front end push in. Definitely hit something and flattened that baby out. And got A. Morano Jr. coming in the pits. He's had a pretty interesting day in that sim pit black and orange Mustang. Ooh. Okay. And told the 3 car is having some internet issues. We'll see if that continues or if he's able to stay in this realm of existence for a few more minutes. Only got to make it 8 more minutes and then we'll be home. But now your leader's starting to contend with a little bit more lap traffic than what they had been dealing with. You got Ken East up there. Fortunately going in lap down after his incidents earlier in the race. Still hasn't had to make a pit stop for it, but I mean, that front end is going to be costing him tons of lap time, unfortunately. Got Seth Rawls and J.W. Miller going through the downhill together. Making it work. Keeping it together. That's pretty good. We're going to go past that very injured car. And he's doing good. That's a really tough place to leave some room. But he did what he could for him. And, hey, they all made it through. Now we got here 22 055 car racing the 500 car. Back here in the Doritos. And it looks like they're all pretty clean. They've not got their headlights on anymore. But at this far back in the pack, I mean, headlights aren't important. Oh, looks like Matt's still making up time on our leaders here. Way below 3 seconds now on Ian Lane. And he is pushing that Grip TV Mustang around here. If he had the floor cut out, he could Flintstone it to get another 2 mile per hour. I think he would be doing it right now. Still got a good battle going on here for 7th. It's the pace car. And another one of those sim pit drivers. Sean Cole getting around that poor stricken 64 car. He's back down to 20th place after running so good all day. But that is the life of racing. Some days you're the lucky. Some days you're the really unlucky. And that one, pretty bad. Now your leader's getting into thicker lap traffic here. Looks like he's going to be smart. Kind of let Ian have the inside. Yep, Ian takes the inside. 55 is going to follow him on through. 55 definitely going to lose some time here, having to go too wide through turn one, but still not enough because there's more lap traffic that'll bunch him right back up. The big person that could gain out of this is if Matt catches him in a straighter part of the track. You get through him a lot cleaner than that. Oh, Matt using all of that runoff. We got Ian making a move on that 16 Mustang up the hill. Once again, gonna put Lewis in a too wide kind of situation, make him kind of pinch his corner off. And now Matt's got a really bad look in front of him. Two Mustangs side by side going through a chicane, and neither of them he really needs to be racing right now. He needs to get through this and just not have to look at them ever again. Oh, Green Mustang having all sorts of issues there right in front of him. That is the last thing you want to see as a leader. But unfortunately, it looks like it's happening regardless if he wants it to or not. We got the 510 car. Michael back in the pits. He's in 31st, though. Not the race he would have wanted to have. And see if 4 minutes to go can inspire any pushing from the front three here. Matt Malone unfortunately lost about half a second with those lappers. Still back there fighting with them. But from a 2.7 gap, looks like he's hovering around a 3.3 second gap to the leader now. He's finally got him cleared though, so maybe he can turn back on the jets and get going. That's up there at the top of the hill on the right-hander. Very dirty track. I won't be surprised if somebody doesn't get a little bit too brave through there. Make a little error. And two leaders all over the curves, pushing, sliding the rear end out on the straightaway. They are pushing these Mustangs to find every last second. See how Matt Malone scores across the line here from 2.7 seconds all the way to 3.48. So Matt Malone, we're going to have to pray for some sort of incident back here to do anything. So we got 54 car finally having to make a pit stop after having all of that damage. Might be just retiring it, saying, you know, I'm just going to get past if I stay out here. Not really going to gain much at this point. Might as well just quit and not ruin the car. But now we got our leaders all pushing for, I mean, they're all on purple fastest lap pace right now. Their cars are going to be as light as they can be right now. Low fuel. Tires are going to be pretty hot, possibly worn out, and the track is pretty dirty. I mean, look at all that crud on the racing line there. So this is all going to be down to the, you know, dash for the cash here almost. Ian's trying everything he can to pull out that lead, but Black Dog's catching up with him in every braking zone. Black Dog's definitely taking more chances over the chicane. So it all depends if he can find a run here, get it up the inside, and just kind of surprise Ian, who's really not had to contend with anything since Matt Malone's penalty. That will be the deciding factor of this race. Matt Malone has still lost more time back to these guys. He's lost another 4/10 on that lap. Don't know if he caught a car in the chicane or what happened to him, but Matt Malone has the front row seat for this lead race. And we got Ian making a little mistake, going pretty wide at the bottom. And they're going to go 3 wide with this lap car. Little contact, nothing too bad. But look who got on the inside and made a move out of it. Black Dog to the lead of this American Muscle Car Series race. Brought to you by Ricmotech. So Now, tide's turn. We've seen something now that we've not seen all day. Black Dog in the lead, defending instead of being right there kind of with checkers but never attacking. He found his move, he made it, and now he's going to pay. He's going to go off the end of the curb, and look at that. Flag's already out, and Ian Lane gets back in the lead. Still got Matt Malone there in third. What an interesting corner that chicane causes every time. I mean, what do you say to that? What an incredible event. Ian committing to still, get on the throttle when you see a car about to spin back into the track. That's a commitment you got to have to get back around. So, and as we saw, we went by the flag stand. This is the white flag lap. So we're back to Black Dog absolutely pushing checkers around this track. He's gonna, look at them, both sliding the rear ends, hammering the throttle as early as they ever have. And now checkers are going to show the inside. He's going to say, nope, you're not diving down too late. And now checkers are going to be smart with the curves here probably. Yep. Takes just enough to get the car to rotate. And going to come and get that checkered flag and come home the winner of this race, checkers, Ian Lane, with Black Dog loose right behind him. Matt Malone, great recovery from 2 penalties. Got quite a bit of damage. Definitely was involved in some incidents there, but nothing too crazy. You got Zoran, the 69 car, representing back in 4th place. Ryan Howard, DSR livery, Mustang, getting back in 5th. Looks like we've had a little gaggle here all racing for 11th. Across the line, everybody kind of comes home. Oh. Just some wild stuff out of the final chicane. People absolutely hammering those poor little curbs. 27 car, Raj Clark pushing, trying to get that last position, but it's not enough time in this race to do it, unfortunately. And we still got a few cars rolling across the line here, so we'll see if we can get them over. The 24 car is crabbing his way home, everybody. That's called dragging it across the line. So with that, looks like we have everybody home. I'm going to go check in on Ian Lane's coming back around. Probably going to do some nice big smoky burnouts. Oh, he's actually backing up for his celebration. Let's see what he decides to do here. Come on, checkers. It has enough power to do some nice donuts. There you go. He just had to find the loud pedal all the way to the floor. So with that, let's hop on to our final results for this race. So we got Ian Lane showing 30 completed laps. It was actually 31 this time around. It looks... We got Black Dog Luis Henriquez about half a second off at the end after his little curb experiment on the next to last lap. Matt Malone managed to pull it back down to 2.5 seconds after getting held up with some lap traffic and after going all the way back to 7th with the cut corner penalties. That was a great recovery for Matt, but he wanted to win this race. He was pushing too hard, and he paid for it twice. You got Zoran back in the 69 car in your 4th place. Brian D. Howard brings up 5th place. Seth Rawls, 25 car in 6th place. David Clymer in 7th. J.W. Miller, 8th. 9th place, you had Devin Booth. Pretty good recovery from him. He was, pretty far back in the running order. And Brian Ostrich in 10th place. And here's your 10th through 20th. So overall, I got to say, very eventful race. They definitely gave us a show on the last couple laps with that big chicane hit. Definitely not what he probably wanted to do, but definitely what he did. Matt Malone had this race, in the bag until he made two huge issues and then got involved. You know, that turn one incident, he really didn't cause it. He was definitely pushing the guy to make a mistake. But, I mean, when you're pushing somebody in the lead or that close to the front, you're hoping they make a mistake and you don't get involved in it. But sometimes the book folds the other direction and you get pushed right back off the track, too. Luckily, he was able to keep it together with all of his experience and, you know, bring it back in third, even with the damaged car that's seen better days at this point. So we're starting to get back towards our retirements here after 30th place, kind of jumping around here. 64 car, real unfortunate day, running really strong up near the top 10. And then, I mean, real unfortunate hit coming through the chicane with the 33. Speaking of the 33, got all the way back to 35th after his, double collision after spinning out in the chicane. Real unfortunate spot to spin, but not much you can do there. And, of course, our favorite racer, Race Stewart, in the 000 car, DNF'd, DNS, and, kept the race clean for us. Signed a few penalties, it looked like. But that's what you get here with the American Muscle Car Series, sponsored by Ricmotech. You get this nice live stewarding, pretty clean racing. I mean, they're Mustangs. They're going to hit. So that's all for today. And great race, everybody here. And they will see you not every Tuesday, but just about every other Tuesday, barring a few week 13s. And we will see you in 2 weeks.